What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today I'm at the gym. It is a Sunday and I'm going to train chest. And I'm actually going to start out with the cable flies because what I want to work on is chest thickness. And I really want to engage the chest muscle first before exhausting myself on other compound movements. So a chest fly is an isolation movement for the chest. And what you really want to look out for, especially on the cable flies that I'm about to do, is the full stretch, but also the contraction. On regular dumbbell flies, there isn't really a contraction caused by the weights, but you would do it yourself. Here, the tension is there all the way through, so the contraction will be caused by the weight. Anyway, let's show you.
Alright, so in this workout I will be showing you more sets than I usually do, because now I have the opportunity to film myself from every angle, even though I'm alone, but there's no one else in the gym, so I can put the camera anywhere that I want without anyone being on a machine or anything. So, we're starting out with the cable flies, and this to me is a very important exercise to start out with on a chest day. I do this quite often to start out with an isolation movement before moving on to any compound movements, so pre-exhaust the chest. This way you will prevent your front delts and your triceps to do most of the work, because sometimes that happens if you got strong shoulders, strong triceps. That combination might actually overpower the strength of your chest, and therefore your chest won't actually do all the work when doing the exercises. So this is set number 3, 35 kilos right here. I'm not going too heavy on this, because if you can go heavy on this one, you're probably not doing it all the way correctly, because you gotta feel a maximum stretch and a maximum contraction, and especially the contraction part of this movement is very important, but also at the same time hard to do right, because a lot of people do stretch out the muscle correctly, but then they move towards the contraction phase and the contraction itself is pretty weak. You really got to make the contraction the hardest part of the exercise. At least it must feel like the hardest part, like your muscles are about to burn, about to explode. And this is what I feel during the cable flies, but also during any machine chest press, for example. When I push the weight, I make sure to contract with a maximum force. And this is what I see missing in a lot of people when they want a full chest or any full muscle. I do believe that if you're consistent over the years with fully exercising the muscle through the full range of motion, so also the contraction, not just going towards the contraction and go back right away, but actually feel the contraction, be aware of it, actually isometrically contract that muscle right when you are at the contraction phase, feeling the weight on your muscles, and then slowly go backwards. The next exercise is the first compound movement of the day, a chest grip, hammer grip on a chest press. And the hammer grip, I do that because then you're better able to contract the chest. As you can see, I'm stretching the chest but also fully contracting it, and during this contraction phase you really just want to suffer. It really hurts to contract it. You really feel the lactic acid building up pretty quickly. But the most important thing is that I use the hammer grip, which is, has a resemblance to, for example, cable flies and dumbbell flies. And that is because you can then better contract the chest. Just compare it to a regular grip. You cannot really contract the chest as well as with a hammer grip, a neutral grip. And the reason why this is a compound movement is you can really clearly see here the chest is doing the motion as well, but you can see the front delts working and especially the triceps working while I'm contracting the chest. That is why pre-exhaustion is something you guys should really do and try, if you don't already, to really feel the difference. You want the exercise to be as difficult as possible for the muscle group that you're training. And then the second compound movement, really for the lower pecs, which I really want to work on as well. I basically want to work on the entire chest. But anyway, this is a great exercise that Arnold used to do himself. He did a lot of stretching exercises, and this is one of the best stretching exercises for the lower pecs that there is. As you can see, when I'm going up, you can see the lower portion of my chest really stretch out, and that's exactly what you want to feel on this exercise. Now, a lot of people think that it's not possible to contract the chest, but in this angle you can see me contract the chest when I'm going down, and it's kind of hard to explain, but you got to really be into the motion of these dips. So when I'm stretching, I put my body forward, I lean forward just a little bit to emphasize the stretch, and when I'm trying to contract, I lean my body backwards a little bit so I contract the chest easier, and this makes it a complete exercise. And at the finish off the machine dips, I like to finish it with a body weight dip pretty much until failure. You really shouldn't be able to do quite a lot of dips anymore, and I like to go to at least 90 degrees. Going much lower than this really causes my shoulders to act up in the long run. I might not feel it right now, but going that deep really doesn't put much more stress on the chest. It puts it more on the shoulders and the triceps from trying to get you out of a hole that deep. So when I look at my progress, I like to do it with outside lighting. Now this isn't the ideal lighting because it's diffuse because of this glass right here. And that means the lighting isn't really sharp, it kind of diffuses all over the body. But I do prefer it over artificial lighting all day because the best pictures you can possibly take are outside in the summer. When you're in shape. Those are the best pictures to represent what your physique is really about. And then it is time for a good stretch exercise again, the Dumbbell Flies. This also stretches the upper pecs and the lower pecs. It's a complete pec exercise. What I'm really focusing on here is the stretch. As you can see, I'm going down further than 90 degrees. Going down as deep as I can. Your chest is pretty much pumped right now, so this stretch is especially hard to feel, trust me. When you're doing dumbbell flies right, you really should be in a lot of pain, and you can see that by looking at old Arnold clips of him doing flies. It hurts. So I just got out of my lean bulking phase and I'm about to go to a cutting phase starting next month. So right now I'm just maintaining my physique right now, getting used to a little lower caloric intake because a lean bulk has a higher caloric intake to actually gain weight. And right now I'm trying to keep my weight a little bit the same, make sure my metabolism isn't really shutting down by going too low on the calories. Because a lot of people go from lean bulk right to cutting, and sometimes the caloric difference might be too much, and it actually causes their metabolism to slow down and eventually have to lower the calories even more. And that is not what you want to do, so that's why I'm in this maintenance for a while. And I'll make a video about this as well, because everyone is different, but for me I noticed that this works the best. And yeah, doing a heavy set of flies right here. And when you see my legs trembling like that, that means that it's really heavy. I almost don't feel the muscle anymore. It really is a very difficult exercise when it comes to the last few reps. You really go through the motions, try to feel the muscle as much as you can, but the lactic acid buildup is incredible. Well, that's exactly what you should try for. And then we're going to do some tricep pushdowns, and I'm doing them a little different from how I used to do them. I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and the difference really is that I'm going higher than 90 degrees right now. I'm going as high as I possibly can by stretching the triceps as much as I can, because I do feel the entire tricep involved a lot more. Because as you look closely, when I go up, you can still see the tricep changing shape a little bit, and that means it's still doing something. It's still being activated by doing the exercise, by stretching it at the top, also working the long head instead of just the small head. And this is a rope tricep extension. It is an overhead exercise, which means it mainly works the long head of the tricep, which of course I want to work on So that is why I'm doing this exercise. Make sure to contract all the way and especially feel the stretch in the long head. And then the last tricep exercise is the close grip bench press. Starting out pretty low because the triceps are pretty much shot at this point. So starting out too heavy would mean that you really cannot feel the contraction of the triceps. Because even on a compound movement like this for the triceps, it's still very possible to contract them. As you can see when I'm going upwards, I'm trying to push my elbows together. That's the easiest way to explain it, in order to contract the triceps properly at the top, making this exercise even more difficult. And this is the last set that I'm about to do. I try to go down as much as I can, feeling the maximum stretch on the triceps. When the upper arms reach about 90 degrees, a little lower maybe. And also by looking at the lower arms, just comparing it to this tricep pushdown of earlier, you can see that the tricep is pretty much completely stretched out at the bottom, and that is far enough to go. And right, this is actually not an exercise, but it simply is a stretch for the chest after having done the complete chest workout. I do think this is important to make sure that you remove as many toxins as you can before recovering, and to actually prevent the amount of muscle ache that you will experience. You will probably always experience muscle ache if you train hard and consistent. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Really has to do with the amount of cardio, the temperature even, the amount you sweat, the amount of toxins build up in your muscles, what you eat, etc. But stretching will open up all the fibers again, allowing fresh blood to rush into all the muscle fibers and, cleaning up the blood, picking up the toxins from these places, and making sure the recovery goes as good as possible.
Okay guys, I'm stretched out now. As you saw, I'm doing it on a dip machine with around 60 or 70 kilos, just to make sure it's not too light. That way you get a big stretch in your chest. The dips are one of the best exercises to stretch, and especially on a machine like that, you don't have to exert any power to stretch it. Just lean on it with your body weight and let it stretch, and then you can get up with your legs. So you don't have to do anything with your chest. And it perfectly stretches out the chest after a workout session to allow the blood flow to continue, to allow the toxins to go away. And then you drink your post-workout shake or eat your post-workout meal. And yeah, then you're done. So anyway guys, that was the workout of today. Usually what I do when I work out alone, you gotta do some different stuff, drop sets, slow negatives, a little more sets, and a little more sets. Sorry, I'm kind of out of breath. But yeah, some more sets than you usually do, because you cannot really go to failure. So you do your last set. You can't go to failure on free weight, so you do another set to, add some difficulty to the exercise. But yes, that was the workout, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to stay golden.